Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and the Immortal Hulk issue number 31. Dude, one of the best freaking issues. Y'all know how I like me a psychological thriller drama. Just throw some psychology in and I'm suddenly happy, right? This one had it. And it had it in a great way that you could follow along. A little bit confused, all of a sudden, oh, dude, I see what they're doing here. And it was awesome. Anyway, guys, let's get talking about who made this comic book so I can break right into how awesome this was. All right, so we got Al Ewing as the writer, Joe Bennett on pencils for the main story, Roy Jose, Bellardino Bravo, and Cam Smith are the anchors for the main story. Paul Mounts does the colors for the main story. All the other peeps were Javier Rodriguez, pencils and colorist, and Alvaro. Dude, there's a lot of people here, right? Alvaro Lopez doing some stuff, Corey Petit on letters, Alex Ross doing the cover, and Jeff Shaw and Dean White doing one variant cover, and David Nakayama doing another. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created the Hulk. Anyway, so boom, dude. You got Zemu coming in here, and he's getting into it with the Hulk, and like he's doing his psychological thing. He's doing his forgetful memory thing. He's being a great actor. He's fully aware of everything that's happening around him. You need to pay attention to the art in this. Everybody who's involved in the art, you need to pay attention to it to really get how awesome this is. Anyway, he's doing something to the Hulk, and stupid Hulk takes over. They call him the big guy now, right? Better than call him the big dog, because that would get annoying really freaking fast. But call him the big guy. I'm digging on that, right? This dude shows up. And he's like the Hulk, the childlike Hulk, the Hulk that we all know. Hulk smash! You know, Hulk is Hulk, that. Oh, it was just sick. And Hulk remembers Zemu, all right? Nobody else, for the most part, remembers him. But Zemu's reminding people, meaning he's supplanting information into their brains all over the TV. And every time one of the cameras gets close, that's when he's saying the things that he needs to say. And he's saying these amazing things. He's like, you remember how good soda used to taste? You remember Saturday morning cartoons? And then just, the smell of a new plastic toy? These are things that are amazing because I know a lot of people here grew up with the Cartoon Network. I remember the phenomenon of the Cartoon Network suddenly showing up, and I literally thought to myself exactly what's being portrayed here. I believe Ewing is of the exact same mindset, that cartoons used to actually mean something back in the day. Because for the most part, cartoons were on a little bit before you went to school, a little bit before when you came home from school. Like maybe you'd be lucky and get like an hour or an hour and a half, like 3 episodes of a cartoon when you came home. But then adult TV programming came on. Sundays was kind of a bore. You'd have maybe a couple little things here and there. And then it wasn't until you got older and you could respect Kung Fu Theater that all of a sudden you're like, yes, that right there, that right there. And Soul Train. I grew up in that kind of a neighborhood, so we were cool with Soul Train. Anyway, But Saturday morning, that was the time. That was the day that nobody wanted to sleep in. That's the day you woke up at 6 or before. You didn't need no alarm. You just woke up and you ran outside. We ran into the living room and you turned on the TV and you just sat down and you watched these awesome cartoons because holy crap, that's the time when you just had a binge watch of all these cool cartoons. It didn't matter what came on. You watch and you could flick through the channels because like maybe 3 or 4 channels, maybe 4, would have cartoons on and you had your pick and it was great and you knew the schedule and you knew what was up. And yes, I did this to turn the channels because that's back in the day. I'm saying. And if you were really poor, sometimes you had a pair of pliers to reach in there to fix it because that's what it was. And the rabbit ears with the aluminum foil on it. I'm saying. Some of y'all don't know what it means to grow up poor. Anyhow, Chef Boyardee, enough said. Look, check this out. This was a freaking awesome book because it brought back that nostalgia to us older readers. There was still some cool stuff in there, right? Nowadays, today, where you're just inundated with cartoons all over the place, forget about it. Cartoons don't mean nearly as much as they used to back in the day. New toys don't mean nearly as much because toys are so cheap and just thrown out there so often. That's like, whatever, man. Back in the day, you see a toy come on, TV, but like, wow, not enough toys coming out. When the Star Wars, like, go and watch the toys that made us to understand, all right? There weren't that many toys out that you could sit down and love. You know what I'm saying? There just weren't. Nowadays, there's so many toys that you don't know what to do with them unless you put them all over your walls. I'm saying. So, like, they really brought back some great nostalgia in this for us older comic book readers. But what do they do for everybody else? For everybody who's involved in this? You got to see people all around on TV and everything just get completely brainwashed everywhere to the point where nobody understood what it was that was happening. And even the big guy, Hulk, didn't understand what was happening until it was too late to understand what was happening. The Hulk, the big guy, showed up as a defense mechanism. Now, what do you call it? The Devil Hulk kind of looks at this as being a wrinkle that, he showed up. I guess he's stronger than me right before sunset. Interesting. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's the case. Excuse me. Maybe in reality, it's the idea that he showed up because he saw this was a defense mechanism. That's what emotions are for the most part. They allow you to cope with the things that are happening around you. You know what I'm saying? And some of us, whatever, our emotions get a little bit, a little irregulated, whatever. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, emotions are supposed to be there to help us cope with the outside stimuli. And in this particular case, it allowed the Hulk to not be affected by Zemu's attack for as long. Now, when he was sucked away and all of a sudden he switched back, that's when you realize that he'd lost everything. He wound up getting inundated just like everybody else that was around him. And how could you tell? Because it wasn't handed to us. None of it was handed to us. Instead, it's the idea that, he kept on saying Hulk is Hulk. And he kept, and the doctor there, McGowan, I think her name was, she's just like, okay, you keep on saying something that I don't understand. I don't understand what you're saying. And she just couldn't look at him anymore. And it's like, I get that he's, childlike Hulk, but what are you talking about? And you realize that Hulk. Zemu made everybody believe that he's the Hulk. Wow. Wow. And if you know anything about the history of Zemu, you understand how powerful that is on multiple levels. I'm not here to spoil all that stuff. There was a True Believers comic book, $1, that just came out recently. Go and pick that up if you've never read it before. It's one lousy $1, American or Canadian, pretty much. Go and pick the book up because it's amazing. It's crazy how good that issue is. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't read it back in the day, if you don't have the Marvel Unlimited subscription, you know what I'm saying? It's an amazing freaking book. Anyway, all the times that Hulk has fought Zemu, this is the kind of crazy stuff that happens. But not to this level. I've never read a Zemu story this good. It's not saying a whole lot, but I can't tell you how good this was. Daredevil shows up in this. If I had to make one complaint about the book, it's not about the people who made the book, it's the people who put the book out. Because you see that something's about to happen. All this crazy, it's all leading up to something. This mutant growth hormone stuff and the hormone replacement black market trade that's going on. Really great story there that I hope Ewing winds up, I don't know if it needs to be explained here, but I would love it if this was just like a preamble to another story that Ewing's going to tell at some point. Because I'm down for him finishing the story. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. But in the meantime, like, it's the same doctor, so I get it. I get it. But when you turn the page, advertisement. It's like, oh, and then you come over here, and with the half page, it's hard to understand what's going on. It's like, oh, Daredevil showed up, okay, but you might miss it. You genuinely might miss it because all of a sudden we're splashed with another 2 pages of advertisements, nothing over here. So it's weird because you're seeing all this stuff, and it's like this one crucial page, and yes, it's crucial. If you look at the last page of the book, you'll understand how crucial this page, this image, everything actually was. But it's kind of lost in here. Almost like maybe it's a good thing because it's kind of ingrained in your subconscious as long as you didn't accidentally skip this page and look back and be like, oh, it's just the advertisements. I got a lot of Marvel books this week. I've already seen these advertisements. It's in the middle of the advertisement. So I don't know if it was meant to be this way or not. It could be that little, subtext, in your mind. I forget what that's called right now, but like when three frames, or like, I'm gonna point out the Basic Instinct movie because that was a really good movie. Subliminal, there we go. Subliminal. On the subliminal images are illegal, or at least used to be illegal in the United States with movies forever, right? For a really long time because they used to actually do something. I'm gonna explain this to you right now. Oh God, here we go. With psychology, they used to actually. During intermission or whatever, or during the movie, they'd put in a single frame or 2 frames of popcorn. So you'd be watching the movie, and then that happens, and your eyes don't necessarily see it. Your brain doesn't register it. Your consciousness does not register it at all, but your subconscious is like, ooh, popcorn. And suddenly like, And you're associating movies with popcorn. I could really use some popcorn. Oh, look, it's intermission time. And oh, look, they're showing the popcorn dancing, or the popcorn tub dancing around and whatnot. You know what? I think I'll go get a popcorn. This was back in the day when, driving movie theaters, these show 2 features and have like a 5-10 minute intermission in between, right? What do you call it? So you'd want to go out and get popcorn. So that wound up becoming illegal. They said you can't do that anymore. Yes, that's something that genuinely did happen back in the day. But if you have 1 or 2 frames, still frames on a movie, then that's what winds up happening. But if you have 3 frames, it's not considered illegal because your consciousness can register 3 frames, but can't register 2 at the speed that they always play movies. You can see that in Basic Instinct when whatever her name is, I can't remember her name right. Sharon Stone, I remembered her name. When she uncrosses her legs in the police interrogation and you actually see the crotch shot, no panties. Yeah, that was like probably the most played back. Like if you ever had a VHS of that, that was the part that was a little bit fuzzy because people would go back and just rewatch that scene and pause on it all the time. I admit to doing that myself also. I got no shame. Anyway, another one was actually Fight Club. The penis scene when he was talking about that was actually, boom, that was a big part of it. Chuck Palahniuk, man, he's on it with amazing freaking scriptures that he writes, like great scribing. Anyway, so you get to see a lot of that in here, a lot of these psychological aspects in here. Meanwhile, we're talking about how Doc Samson ain't Jack. He couldn't get to the bottom of a bag of chips, which is hysterical because now all of a sudden I want chips. Damn it, Ewing, with your subliminal information. What brand? Just tell me what brand, man. Anyway, but almost everything that happens here, it's mandatory to be able to check out the art. I did have a problem with one part of the art in here. And let me see if I can find it really quick because it's really weird, but it didn't bother me. It was just, literally, it was just a thing. There it is. This is Crusher Creel, the Absorbing Man. It's looking like he's wearing some kind of whatever, and then it turns into armor? I don't know what exactly it is that was happening here. What exactly happened here? Did he, is he absorbing stuff? Because the way he's talking to Puck inside the machine, I'm like, what? I don't understand what just happened there. But anyway, the idea is how psychological that got. It was great because he's talking about, I've got to go and help the Hulk. But he helps Zemu. Because now Zemu is the Hulk. God, that was great. Because I'm like, wait, what? This was fantastic, man. All of this was just freaking fantastic. Everybody bought a hook, line, and sinker. And the readers, we're sitting here like, wait, what? And now all of a sudden, we understand the Hulk better than anything else because we're not being hypnotized like everybody else is. Anyway, this was fantastic. And the art in this, man, like I said, aside from that one scene, so much of what's happening in here really depends on what's happening in the art itself. So much of everything that's happening here, you have to look at the art in order to understand what's happening. This is not a quick read. This issue, it is not a quick read. You are doing yourself a disservice and you are not getting your money's worth if you're just flipping through this, man. Like me, I was like, first off, I love that Percy Shelley is on here. Percy Bysshe Shelley. Can never pronounce that middle name. I forgot he actually had a middle name. Back then everybody did. But this is the husband of Mary Shelley. So Prometheus Unbound, Frankenstein, all that good stuff. I feel like those are the 2 works that should solely be quoted when it comes to these books. But whatever, man. All this stuff with Glowboy, all of the stuff here. But in the beginning, I swear, Stairway to Heaven is in my mind for this, which I don't know if that was intentful or not. Ewing is English, so there's that. But there's a feeling you get. I'm just like, there's a feeling I get when I look to the west. But everything in here, there's a feeling you get when you've gotten so used to just for a while that it feels like forever. Things aren't safe, but they're stable, all under control, you imagine. And yeah, I know I suck at singing. I suck at most of the things I do, so who cares? Anyway, I was looking at it like, dude, wow, that's freaking Stairway. I was stuck on that. So it's a good thing. I looked at that and it slowed me down a lot when I was reading this. This is not a fast-paced comic. But the trick is that with the art, it could be. Don't let it hypnotize you. Go back and read it a second time. Read it slower. Enjoy how good this comic book was. This is a psychological, like, murder mystery. And you really pay attention to the few times that Dario Agger is actually on here, and that's where the art really shines. Like this page right here is one of the best pages in comic book art history. Like, dude, everybody who's involved in this, Bennett, Mounts, holy crap! This is one of those pages that needs to go down in a museum of comic book art, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Screw the haters, man. I'm being serious because you see all this stuff. Hey, is that, what is that? Is that a phoenix? Is that an angel? And then you see that, and it's like, the harpy. And it's like, it's terrifying. And he's just sitting there commenting while drinking his champagne. Yellow teeth. They're all monsters. There's all body horror monster imagery in here, man. Bennett and Mounts are freaking just right. They're just like, I am going to murder everybody who's reading this comic book, and you're going to thank me for it as you're dying. I'm saying, and I'm just like, because like everything's a monster in here, but you could tell who the bad monsters are just by the way that the art is. That the harpy is terrifying, coming right at the bad guys. It's like, and it's like, oh shoot, that looks awesome, but you know that she's the hero in this. Meanwhile, Dario Agger, one of the most evil freaking characters in the Marvel universe right now, and I love it. He's like that low key, not Loki, the low key, terrifying, I'm going to kill all of you, but I'm going to cut you a paycheck while I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bought you. You owe me everything. I don't want your souls. I want your lives and your money. Just saying. But, dude, like the yellow teeth and the things that he's saying and how he's shaped and what he's doing, you could tell. If there were no words in this comic book, you would know that Minotaur is the real bad guy. Everything else in here is like, wait a second, what's going on here? But you know that Minotaur is the bad guy. I love everything about this comic book, man. One of the best issues so far. Get the comic book, my peeps. If you fell off this comic book because of whatever, fix that and jump back on because wow. Anyway, guys, I'm out. Get the comic book. Like the video. Hope you're subscribed. Bell. Watch a video over here. And please watch an ad if it shows up at the end because that's how your favorite YouTubers, all of us, get paid. Love you guys. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.